The 7% Solution by Nicholas Meyer. This book is read by David Case. The discovery of an unpublished manuscript by John H. Watson may well engender in the world of letters as much skepticism as surprise. It is easier to conceive of the unearthing of one more Dead Sea Scroll than yet another text from the hand of that indefatigable biographer. Certainly there has been a surfeit of forgeries, some of them admittedly well done, and others merely preposterous, so that the appearance of one more supposedly authentic chronicle may automatically arouse bored hostility in the breasts of serious students of the canon. Where did this one come from, and why not before now? Are the inevitable questions students are forced to pose time and time again, before going on to catalogue the myriad inconsistencies in style and content that brand the piece a hoax. For the present manuscript, it does not matter whether or not I believe it to be genuine. For what it is worth, let me say that I do. As to how it came into my possession, that is frankly a matter of nepotism, as the letter from my uncle, quoted in full below, will serve to indicate. London, March the 7th, 1970. Dear Nick, I know that both of us are busy, so I'll come right to the point. And you needn't worry. The enclosed bundle does not represent my attempt to make a stockbroker's life look glamorous and/or easy. Vinny and I bought a house in Hampshire 3 months ago from a widower named Swingline, if you can believe it. The poor man's wife had just passed on. She was only in her middle 50s, as I understand it, and he was quite broken up, couldn't wait to leave the house. They'd lived in it since the war, and the subject of the attic was simply too painful to bear. All the effects and mementos and papers, how much one accumulates during a lifetime, that he wanted were in the house proper, and he said if we didn't mind clearing out the attic ourselves, anything we found up there we could keep. Well, it isn't always you get to rummage around in someone else's junk and take what you like, but to be truthful, the more I thought of doing it, the less enthusiastic I became. The place was jammed with furniture, bric-a-brac, standing lamps, dusty whatnots, and even old travelling steamer trunks. But there was something distasteful about going through poor Swingline's past, even with his permission. Vinny, even though she felt the same way, is a homemaker. She wondered if there was anything we could use up there, furniture prices being what they are, and also she had items of our own she wanted to store out of the way. So up she went, and down she came, choking with dust and smudged all over like a chimney sweep. I won't bore you with all the details, but we found the enclosed, Xeroxed a copy, and are sending it on to you. Apparently the late Mrs. Swingline was a typist, her maiden name being Dobson, and in that capacity she worked at the Aylesworth House, an old folks' affair recently taken over by the National Health. Hurrah, hurrah! In the course of her work, which included helping the patients write letters, she transcribed onto her typewriter, also in the attic, by the by, and in mint condition, the enclosed, which was dictated to her, he states so himself, by one John H. Watson, M.D. It took me a while to read the thing, and I was 3 pages or more into what he called his introductory before I realized what the hell it was. Of course, it occurred to me the whole thing might be some sort of incredible hoax, a hoax that never came off and got buried in the attic. So I checked into it. In the first place, Swingline knew nothing about it. I asked him casually, and he didn't recall it at all, much less express any interest. Then I went to Aylesworth House and asked them to check the files for me. There was some question about whether they were still accurate that far back. The war messed up everything, but my luck held good. In 1932, a Dr. John H. Watson was admitted, with severe arthritis, and it stated in his health record that he'd been attached to the 5th Northumberland Fusiliers. There could no longer be any doubt, at least in my mind, and I would fain have looked at the record in detail. Wouldn't you have liked to know where Watson was really wounded? But Matron wouldn't let me. She hadn't the time to stand around, she said, and the file was confidential. Ah, bureaucracy, what would the National Health do without you? Anyway, it offers substantial confirmation as to the authenticity of the enclosed, which I am forwarding to you for whatever purpose you think best. You are the Sherlockian in the family, and will know what to do with it. If it comes to anything, we split the profits. Fondest regards to you, Henry. P.S. Vinny says we have to cut her in, too. She found it. P.P.S. We are retaining the original manuscript. We'll see if Sotheby's is interested in auctioning it. Authentic or not, the manuscript required editing, and preparing a definitive edition of Plutarch could not be more difficult than the problems posed by a newly unearthed text of Watson's. I corresponded extensively with Sherlockians, too numerous to mention here. All of them proved invaluable, tireless in offering advice, comments, and insights regarding the newly discovered material. The only proper acknowledgment of the debt this book owes them is the book itself. I have, with their help, preserved as much of Dr. Watson's narrative as makes for a consistent story. For reasons which are not definitely known, Watson never, to our knowledge, got to edit the manuscript. His own death, possibly, or the vagaries of the war, prevented him. Therefore, readying the work for publication, I have tried to function as I believe he would have. I have struck out redundancies. Old people have a tendency to repeat themselves, and although Watson's memory of events apparently remained intact, he was prone to reiterate significant details. I have also eliminated digressions which he made from time to time when his mind appears to have strayed from the story and wandered unchecked into the intervening years. These memories are themselves not without interest, and in subsequent editions I shall no doubt include them in the form of appendices. Knowing that footnotes are especially irksome in the course of a narrative, I have deliberately kept them to a minimum, and made the necessary ones as informal as possible. For the rest, I have left well enough alone. The doctor is an experienced hand at telling a tale, and needs no help from me. Aside from succumbing to the irresistible temptation to telescope or streamline an awkward phrase here and there, which the good doctor no doubt would have himself corrected in his revisions, all is as the faithful Watson set it down. Nicholas Meyer, Los Angeles, October the 30th, 1973. There then follows an introductory note by Dr. Watson. For many years it was my good fortune to witness, chronicle, and in some instances to assist my friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, in a number of the cases which were submitted to him in his unique capacity as a consulting detective. Indeed, in 1881, when I committed to paper the substance of our first case together, Mr. Holmes was, as he said, the world's only consulting detective. This was a study in scarlet written by Watson after the case took place in 1881, and was not published until December 1887, when it appeared in the Beaton's Christmas Annual, under the pen name A. Conan Doyle, N.M. The ensuing years have seen that situation remedied to the satisfactory degree that today, in 1939, consulting detectives, if not actually known by that name, flourish both within and without the police contingent of nearly every country in the so-called civilized world. Many of them, I'm gratified to see, employ the methods and techniques first developed by my singular friend so long ago, though not all of them are gracious enough to give his genius the wealth of credit it deserves. Holmes was, as I've always endeavoured to describe him, an intensely private individual, reclusive in certain areas to the point of eccentricity. He was fond of appearing impassive, austere, and somewhat aloof, a thinking machine, not in direct contact or communication with what he considered the sordid realities of physical existence. In truth, this reputation for coldness was deliberately and completely of his own manufacture. It was not, moreover, his friends, he admittedly had few, nor yet his biographer, whom he sought to convince regarding this aspect of his character. It was himself. The 10 years since his death have provided me with ample time for reflection upon the question of Holmes's personality, and I have come to realize what I always really knew, but did not know that I knew, that Holmes was a deeply passionate human being. His susceptibility to emotion was an element in his nature which he tried almost physically to suppress. Holmes certainly regarded his emotions as a distraction, a liability, in fact. He was convinced
Sample complete. Ready to continue?